for this segment of Trash Worthy or Trail Worthy, we're talking about camelbacks.
Oh, yes. Water bladders. No particular brand here, right? Are you just talking about the concept of a bladder?
Just the concept.
Okay, the concept of a water bladder. I own quite a few of these. Probably about 5 or 6, to be honest. They're okay. I don't want to say they're trash worthy, but I don't want to say they're trail worthy either. All right. A couple problems I have with these water bladders. One is it's just annoying to clean them after your hike.
Yeah.
To try and clean them and clean out this tube. You can see this one in particular. You can see the spots in it where if you don't get this like extremely dry, it starts to form some mold. And then when you get water bladders like this that are dark colored and you can't even see what's in there and what you're drinking, that's where it starts to get a little sketchy. Two, is it not kind of inconvenient to open up your pack and then have to pull this out or pour water into your pack when you're trying to camel up?
Yeah, especially if you're completely full on a 4-day hike. I mean, you're taking everything out just to reach that.
Right. And another thing, I've never heard anyone else talk about this, but I experience this a lot. In almost every single backpack, the water bladder carrier is in the farthest part of the pack. Okay? By that I mean it's right up against your back. When you're hiking and you're sweating and you're hot, there's a lot of heat coming off of your back. It typically heats up that water, and I find myself drinking a lot of hot water when I use a water bladder. What about you?
Yeah, and then you've got to think about all the weight from your gear pressing against that camelback. These things are known for rupturing, and if you don't want to have a soiled, wet gear, possibly extra wet clothes or anything like that, I mean, these camelbacks, I'm more of a trash worthy on this one.
Yeah, and two, when we've set these out, so at night when we're getting down into those freezing temps, one particular bag I had froze and busted, okay? So the water freezes inside them, and that just makes for a bad trip. When your gear gets wet on the inside, if your sleeping bag gets soaking wet and it's dropping down into single digits that night, you are in a serious situation, okay? So I'm not a big fan of the fact of the concept of water bladders. However, on our last hike, I did use one, and I occasionally do use one, and that is when I'm in those situations, like we were in a drought here in the southeastern part on the Appalachian Trail, so I knew there wasn't going to be many places to fill up water, so I wanted to carry that extra water. Those are kind of the only situations I use these water bladders for. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, unless I'm going to be doing some kind of glamour camping where I'm not hiking and I can hang one up just on a tree or something, I'm not going to carry one.
Right. They tend to leak too. Right here in this spot where the hose meets the bag, you can see this on various different ones. They tend to leak out of there, and I've used a bunch of different brands, and they leak there. It's in your bag, stuff's moving around, even if it's packed well, and grinding against it, they tend to leak. Also, one other thing, you never know how much water you have. So when I pull out that water bottle, I see exactly my water level. When that water's in my camelback, I don't know that I'm close to out of water until I suck on that straw and it's, I just sucked air. And I might have passed up a water source just 2 miles back, but I really do not want to backtrack and try and camel up after I've already passed that water source. So you never really know how much water you have left without taking off your pack, opening your pack, digging the water bladder out and looking at it. And that's sort of an inconvenience.
Another problem I've experienced on trail is right here where your bite valve is, I have leaked water all down the front of my shirt.
Yeah.
And you know, it may be a drop here and a drop there, but over the course of a few miles, you've leaked a lot of water, and I really don't like losing water, especially when we're in a drought.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is something that just really bugs me and irritates me, is the bite valve leaking.
Yeah. So an alternative I use is a Nalgene bottle. Check this out. So Nalgene makes really awesome, really tough bottles. They have measurements here. What I love is it's in milliliters and ounces, okay? The measurements here. So some like mountain houses, meals that we have to hydrate, sometimes in different products, ramen or like drink mixes, protein powders. Some require the mixture to be in ounces, some in milliliters. If you don't know those conversions off the fly on the top of your head, this bottle does that for you very well. Also, this bottle is really tough. You can pour extremely hot water in here, lock it closed, throw it in your sleeping bag, and it's like a heater during the night.
Yeah, so I also, I don't carry the Nalgene bottle. I actually carry smart water bottles. The reason why I carry those is I carry a Sawyer Mini, which we will be reviewing here pretty soon. You can screw that right on top of your bottle and drink straight from it. So if you don't want to stop and hang out at the source with all these other hikers or whatever, you got miles to be putting down, you can definitely just screw that on top. So I really like the smart water bottles. They're a whole lot easier for me.
Awesome, good point. So, quick recap. I think the water bladders, I'm not gonna say they're trash worthy, but I don't love the fact that they're trail worthy either. I think they're in a gray area somewhere in between. They have their place on the trail, but they're not my first choice. What about you, Chase?
Trash worthy.
Trash worthy.